did not expect this package to be this big.
That's what she said.
Michael, please.
Hello, my most beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous friend in the entire world. How are we doing today? I am doing well because I'm here to review the brand new Ensley Cosmetics Flutter and Flourish collection. I was sent the entire collection to my surprise. I did not expect all this. Really kind of took me by surprise. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right on in. Now, before I show you guys how I did this eye look and how I did my other eye look that you guys saw in my new makeup releases, I kind of just want to go over a few things. So this collection is going to contain quite a few products. So it's gonna have two different palettes right here. We're gonna have the Flutter palette and the Flourish palette. Now the Flutter palette does retail for $50, and it says, delve into the softer, ethereal shades of the early dawn gardens with our Flutter palette. 12 pans of muted earth tones, soft pastels, and spicy neutrals create a canvas of gentle yet powerful expressions. The collection is also going to include the Flourish palette. Now the Flourish palette actually does retail for $55, and it says, bold and bright, the Flourish palette contrasts with vibrant pinks, radiant yellows, electric greens, and fiery oranges. This palette captures the high noon of a magical summer day, perfect for crafting vivid, eye-catching looks. Next, this collection is actually going to come with two different blushes. We're going to have the Flourish blush. We're going to have the Flourish blush and the Flutter blush. These actually do retail for $9 a piece, but I'll go over that in just a little bit. We also have 4 single and multi-chrome shadows. Now these are going to vary in prices. They're going to vary anywhere between $15 to $17, I think, depending on what type of shadow you're getting, whether it's dual chrome or multi-chrome. But you guys will see me use these in just a little bit, and I have to say, y'all. Next, this collection is going to roll out with these Moon Dust. Now, these are the Flutter and Flourish collection. They're a multi-chrome and dual-chrome loose eyeshadow. Now, these are actually going to retail between $15 to $17 as well, depending on whether or not you are getting a multi-chrome or a dual-chrome. Now, these definitely have a learning curve to them. I love fairy dust as much as I don't, only because they can get extremely messy, but if you can get them to work, oh, they're the most gorgeous thing in the world. And then lastly, this collection is also going to be rolling out with 2 lip glosses right here. Now, these actually lip glosses do retail for $17 a piece, and I definitely have some thoughts on them. So with that said, this collection is going to be launching on July 30th, and you guys can use code Allie to save you guys 10% off this entire collection. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into our first look. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the Flutter palette right here. Now, first off, I think the packaging is so freaking cute. Love the outside packaging design. And the color story on the inside is definitely a color story that I really gravitate to a lot. I just think it's so pretty. I do love the muted, cool tone shades in here. A lot of them are gonna be more on the pastel base, so they are gonna be a little bit more difficult to work with, and in a sense you're going to have to really kind of pack down that color or use a color base underneath it. But I'm going to try something a little different. I don't really ever play with like dark shades like this that often because I find them to be a little intimidating, but we're going to do it today. So I'm going to start off with this shade right here called Echo. And I already set my eye with the Sigma eye base right here. And we're going to take the Sigma E54 brush. This is going to be a little packer brush. And we're going to start to just pack this in right into our outer V. Then we're going to softly like blend it forward, but I'm curious to see how this eye look's gonna go. Like I said, I've not played with like a black shade or like a cool tone black shade in like a long time. I don't know. I find like dark shades like this to just be a little intimidating. I think because like a little does go a long way, and if you like mess it up, it's not like it's the easiest shade to correct. Do you know what I mean? So like I do find it to be just a tad intimidating. I cannot help it. So we're gonna start to just pack this shade right here. I'm gonna look messy. Oh God, yeah. It looks messy. Then we're gonna take the E42 brush and we're going to start to just buff this shade forward to try to really blend this out. It's looking a little rough. It's looking a little rough. I think it's me. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me. Alrighty. Since you guys know that I love to be a horrible makeup artist. Well, I'm not a makeup artist. I'm a makeup enthusiast. Two different things. I'm going to go with the shade called Flicker right here to kind of buff that out just a little bit more. I know you guys are not the biggest fan of Michaela. You guys tell me this all the time in my comment sections, but she recently just posted a video on TikTok kind of doing like an eyeshadow one-on-one and like how to like really kind of work shades together and about blending and like where to start and stuff like that. It is very, very educational. I will give it that. It's very, very educational, and I really did enjoy watching it because a long time ago, I'm talking about like when Michaela first started out on TikTok, she hosted a makeup class. It was $50. And you got to join her on Zoom, and she was there for like 2 hours, if not more, just doing an eye look, and she did it step by step, and people can have their camera on, myself included. I have my camera on, and she was really showing you how to do an eyeshadow, like basic eyeshadow look. It was really nice. I really did enjoy the class. She was very educational. She was patient. She really answered a lot of people's questions they may have had, and she just kind of like walked you through the steps. So I really did appreciate it. So like I know people out there, like I said, don't like her, but she does know what she's talking about when it comes to eyeshadow. At the end of the day, I'm not a makeup artist, okay? I have never had any professional training. I worked at Ulta, but I worked on the cashier and I did truck. I never did like someone's makeup or anything like that, like shade matching, stuff like that. I just did like the basics at Ulta. So she definitely has more skills than I think I could ever possess in my finger. And so she definitely knows what she's talking about. So if you guys do want to, like, if you guys do struggle with blending and how to get like a proper eyeshadow look, I would definitely recommend just heading over to her TikTok. Check out that video where she does like a basic 101 eyeshadow tutorial, and she kind of just like walks you through the steps. This is looking really muddy. It's gonna look really like messy, but just trust the process because I'm gonna clean it up. I just kind of wanted to lay the shadows down right here. And what you can always do if you really feel like your eye look is muddy, you can always do my little technique. And this is not something I created, but it's something that I've done for years. I will take setting powder and I will go along the edges to really try to make it look as blended as possible and really help to blend it out. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this. Just a little bit. It looks muddy, but like I said, trust the process. Now for me, I always take my Dominique Cosmetics setting powder right here. Because I think this is a really great setting powder for blending out eyeshadow. I actually said that to Kristen one time. She was live on TikTok. And I jumped in and I said how much, she was like showing off her setting powder. And I said, you know what your setting powder is really good for? And she said, what? I'm like, blending out eyeshadow. She's like, oh my God, yeah, I didn't even think about that. And so she tried it and she's like, this is really good. And I'm like, it's your setting powder. Okay, then I want to take the shade called Golden Hour right here because this is such a beautiful like blue multi-chrome. It changes from like a blue to an orange. And I know it's kind of hard to tell on camera. Let me show you with my mirror. If you guys can see the shift of the two shades. Maybe I have to show it on the eye, but we're gonna go in with this. I feel like this would be really, really pretty color, and I feel like it's gonna be a little bit of like black blue, but mostly orange is what I'm gonna get with some green. Okay, that is laying down so nicely. I'm kind of curious to see what color. I see right here, I see orange. I think you guys are kind of seeing orange too. All right, then I want to take the shade called Dewdrop right here. It's another pretty like blue purple. I feel like it's gonna really complement the shade Golden Hour right here. We're gonna pop this right. Oh my God, yeah. I will say the only difference between me and Michaela when it comes to laying down shimmers is that she always lays down glitter glue. I never do because I feel like the shimmers that I work with when it comes to these brands don't need it, but I get why she does it because it adds a little extra pop. It can make your shadow look a little bit more wet, more shiny. I like how the shadows perform on their own, and I feel like they don't need to have extra stuff added to it. But I will say if you do have really oily lids, I think having some glitter glue may help kind of lock that in and keep your shimmers from flaking or falling out the rest of the day. So now that we kind of cut that more than I intended, we're going to go ahead and throw on some lashes, and we're going to come back to do the under eye together. I think I want to do a little bit of green and purple underneath to really kind of showcase the beautiful colors that are in here, because right now I use two mattes already, but they do have this really beautiful Magic Moss shade, and I also kind of want to use the shade called Wisp right here. I feel this is a really beautiful spring palette, and I know we're about to go into fall. At least in my mind, we're about to go into fall because fall starts for me August 1st. I know it doesn't for everybody else, but it does for me. So I think this is really pretty. I'm kind of glad I went with a darker base. I wasn't sure how this would look, but I think it looks really pretty. So let me go ahead and do the other eye, come back so we could do the under eye together. So to finish off the eyes, we're gonna go back in this palette. I'm gonna take the shade called Wisp, and we're gonna run that right along our waterline. I think this eye look to me is so pretty. I really am liking how this is turning out. So I'm just gonna take this shade. We're gonna go right over here. Run that along the waterline. Oh, that's pretty. Ooh, I almost dropped it. Okay, then I'm gonna take the shade right here called the Magic Moss. This is so freaking pretty. And we're gonna take that, we're gonna blend that into the purple. I don't know, I feel like this would be a really pretty combination. I could be wrong, but I just feel like it'd be really pretty. Like a little like fairy color. And then I'll take a little bit of Serenity, just a tiny bit, since these are very, very light colors. Just to kind of blend that in with that. Oh, that's pretty. All right, guys, so here is the final look using the Flutter palette. So far, I am so in love with how this look turned out. I think it's so freaking beautiful. I actually really love using the dark shade. I didn't really know if I was going to be able to love the shade called Echo, but I really loved how this looked. I think mixing the shade right here called Flicker on top really gave it kind of like a greeny, like a gray-green shade. It just made it so freaking pretty. It made it so nice for the shade Golden Hour, to be honest. I think Golden Hour is just where it's at. It's such a beautiful shade. Loved mixing the shade called Dewdrop on top. Moonflower is so beautiful in the middle. And then I mixed all three of these shades right here for underneath. So I used almost the entire shade, almost the entire palette, minus these two shades and Mystic Flower right here. Other than that, I used almost every single shade, and I think this is such a gorgeous palette, and I am obsessed with how this looks. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to top this, but now we're gonna go ahead and do another look using the Flourish palette. Okay, so now into the Flourish palette right here. I will say this is a really beautiful, beautiful palette. I love the outside packaging. And on the inside, this is gonna be the colorful story. This is gonna be the color story right here. Now, this is definitely more full of like bright, bold pastel shades. Like we had the Flutter palette, which is more cool tone, muted colors. And this is definitely more bright, vibrant pastel shades, some neon-esque shades. But I still want to create like something similar to what we did with the Flutter palette. So I'm actually going to go into this shade right here called Calikinga. I don't know how to say that. But we're going to go into that. And I think since the last palette, I did not use any of the moon dust and I did not use any of the single shadows. I think we're actually going to use that today along with some of the blushes since I didn't use it in our other look. I'm going to start to tap this along our outer V once again. Look at me trying to do like darker shades. I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone and kind of use a little bit different shades I normally wouldn't go for. I mean, granted, I should be using like the purples and pinks in here, but I really just kind of want to go with this color, because I feel like this is gonna be a really pretty look, especially for like what I have in mind. Okay, so now that's laid down, it's gonna be a little messy. We're gonna trust the process. We're gonna go into the shade called Flourish right here, and we're gonna use that to kind of tap along the edges to help to blend this shade out. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna slowly start to buff this in. Now, these are very, very light pastel neon shades. So for these, you could definitely pack them on to lay down some color. But for me, whenever I use shades like this, I always want to use a color base underneath it to really get to pop. But sometimes it's really nice to have to just kind of blend out the edges softly. Then to continue on, we're going to use the shade Begonias right here to really help to blend that out. I'm going to try to utilize as much shades in this palette as I did the last one. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is I want to go into the Flourish single shadow. This is going to be the shade called Monarch. This is absolutely beautiful. I kind of want to lay this shade, I almost dropped it. I'm going to lay this shade down right next to it. Now, you could use glitter glue because these are definitely going to flake just a bit, but I don't really want to use glitter glue. I just want to apply it directly to the lid because just look at how gorgeous that is. It is so pigmented. Now, the best part about using glitter glue is that it will help to keep the flakiness down, but I personally do not mind it because if you use a little bit, a little bit does go a long way and it does kind of help it from flaking off. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do next is I think I'm gonna do something that I'm gonna regret, but you know what, we're gonna go for it because why not? I'm gonna dig into one of the moon dust right here. These are multi-chrome / duochrome loose eyeshadows. Now when it comes to these loose shadows, y'all, I am not kidding when I say a little bit does go a long way. These literally like flutter everywhere. Okay, these are fairy dust and I've worked with plenty of fairy dust. I have a whole drawer dedicated to it, especially when I was working with Nikkei Joy Cosmetics on all their loose pigments. These flake These like literally have like glitter that kind of just sparkles the second you open them. You'll see it like literally flying around in the air. It is what it is. It just happens. Now there's two ways that you guys can apply this. You guys can apply this either wet or dry. Now I personally would recommend applying it wet if you really want to have a nice beautiful shine like this. But if you want to go something more effortless, you just need to tap it on with a dry brush or a dry finger, which I'm gonna try doing that today with the dry finger. If I want more pigment, I will go ahead and add some glitter glue to really make it pop, or add some sort of mixing medium on my eye, because these right here are stunning, but it just depends on what you want to look for. Like I did full dedicated reviews to all my Nakia Joy Cosmetics loose pigments, and I'll link them down below if you guys want to check them out. But literally I showed you guys all the different ways you guys can apply these wet or dry. So we're going to go in with it dry first and see if I need to build up the pigment. So I'm going to go into the shade called Daffodil. And mine's already kind of messy because I did swatch it. What I really like it is this component right here actually kind of locks it in. All the other loose dust, all the other loose pigments that I have like this, you open up and literally glitter flies everywhere. The stopper on this is freaking chef's kiss, because it does prevent all the glitter from flying up. But I'm going to show you because the second I open this, I'm sure someone's going to fly up. I don't know if you can see, I already see some fluttering. Now you can take this on your finger. I will tap just a little bit into the cap right here, and we're gonna go in with my finger. This is so freaking pretty. I'm gonna see how it lays down without any sort of glitter. Whoa, glitter glue. But I'm sure if I had the glitter glue, the pigment on this would be unreal. That is gorgeous. But do you guys see all the fallout that comes with that shade? Now see, my only thing is like when I start to go into a brush to help to blend out the edges, it starts to dissipate just a little bit. Do you guys see that? So I'm going to go in just a tiny bit, like a very tiny bit of glitter glue, because I really don't want it budging. Very tiny bit. I'm just going to tap this on. Whoa, that glitter glue really just enhanced that. Do you guys see that? Now this ain't going nowhere. Now it's going to have that nice wet foiled look because I did use that glitter glue. Do you guys see that? So this is how we're looking right here. I think it's so pretty, and I definitely could have used more of like the bright bold colors, but I think I'm going to do instead is I think I will take like this green, this pink, and this purple, and I think I'm going to blend it out underneath my eye to give it like an extra pop of color. But I really just wanted to use these shades. I feel like they're really, really, really beautiful. I kind of wanted to show the moon dust. I kind of wanted to show the single shadow along with the pigments that are in here, and I just think it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I'm gonna only use one shade. I only used 3 shades so far from the palette, but we're gonna go ahead and do the other eye of camera. We're gonna come back to do the under eye, the blushes, and the lips. Okay, so now the eyes are on. We're gonna go ahead and finish off the underneath. So I feel like instead of using the Petal Pop, like this bright green, which I still think could look really pretty with that, I think we're gonna go in with like a mix between Pink Paradise. We're gonna go in with Thistle right here. We're gonna kind of mix it too. Maybe I can add a little bit of green. Okay, we'll go in with this shade first. Blend it out, Pink Paradise, and maybe add that. That way we're actually utilizing as much of this palette as we can. The only ones that I'm not utilizing the most is actually the shimmers in this one. I know the quality of the shimmers are going to be really good because I've already enjoyed the other. I know the quality of the shimmers in this palette is really good, but I just want to try something a little different since I did not play with the single shadows in my last look. I figured we'd do it in today's look. I figured we'd do it in this look. So we're going to lay this shadow down. About these shades are that they're so blendable and very, very light in pigment because they are like bright neon pastel shades. So they definitely blend really, really, really easily. It's pretty. I like that. Okay, let me just quickly throw on some black liner and some mascara. So for blush, we have 2 different blush shades right here. So we have the Flutter blush shade, which I think is going to be more of my shade because it looks like it's going to be like a coral orangey shade. And then we also have the Flutter shade, the Flourish shade, which would be more like this beautiful purple tone blush. I think what I will do is I think I'll just add like them kind of both together, mix them very, very lightly together to see like what kind of concoction we can come up with. Oh, okay. I will say that the Flourish blush is definitely more overpowering for sure. And that a little bit does go a long way because she is pigmented. Ooh. And note to self, these are very, very, very pigmented blushes. Like, they're a little intense, so a little does go a long way. Yo, this blush is very intense. Oh my goodness. I'm a little taken back by it, not gonna lie. Okay, so what I want to do is I actually want to take, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but it's a really pretty color. I'm going to take the Fluttering Fantasy Moon Dust right here. I'm going to see if I can actually use this as a highlighter today because it's freaking gorgeous. It has like a orange undertone to it, like a shift. Like, looks white in here. But when you put on the finger, like, it's so pretty. So I'm going to start to, oh, wow. Oh, wow, look at that. That is, oh, stunning. Kind of got to buff it out just a little bit. It makes such a beautiful highlight. Like, it's definitely meant for the eyes, but like, look at that. That makes it so wet looking. So to finish off this look, we are going to go in. I'm going to go ahead and line my lips. I'm just going to take the shade right here called Cocoa from Lunar Beauty. We're going to line my lips with this. And then I'm actually going to take my liquid lip that I created with Flutter Cosmetics. This is in the shade called Kaya. So freaking pretty. So freaking pretty. Okay, so while that's drying down, I'm gonna see if you guys can see the multi-chroma of this. I'm gonna check my mirror right here. Can you guys see? There we go. There's that orange shift that I was talking about. Look at how beautiful that shade is. Is that not freaking gorgeous? I wonder if you guys can see the shift in my eyes. Like, I wonder if that's gonna be available for you guys to see. If you guys can see the shift there, but like, look at, see, so that's what I'm seeing, like the purple. But like right here, you guys can definitely see that orange. Oh my God, so freaking stunning. Okay, so to finish off, we have the two lip glosses right here. I'm not going to lie, I am not the biggest fan of like multi-chrome lip glosses or like holochrome, almost metallic style lip glosses. I don't know, I just feel like they can be very, very overpowering. So I feel like if I swatch the two, this one right here is a white, blue, purple base. So it's gonna look like this, okay? Or we take the Flourish shade, this really pretty like duochrome. This is gorgeous. Like, it's really gorgeous. I feel like this really pretty like liquid eyeshadow. But to put it as a gloss, we're gonna try. We'll use this one. We'll use the Flourish shade right here. So let's take this and let's try this on the lips. Ooh. I'm not a fan. Ooh, I'm not a fan. Like it's not bad, but it's making my lips look like really metallic. Okay, what if I add the other shade on top just a little bit? See, that tones it down. No, it just like, me, it's just like, you could just see it there. It's just too pigmented of a color. So it kind of takes away from the lip. Okay guys, so this is my second look right here using the Flourish palette right here and some of the single shadows in Moon Dust. I will say I absolutely live for this eye look. I love like the highlighter effect that I have. I think it's so gorgeous. So let me go ahead and zoom you guys out. Okay, my final opinions on this collection. And that'll wrap up today's video. All right, now that we have the final look, I have to say this is my first time ever receiving Ensley Rain in PR. And I have to say I was very overwhelmed. I genuinely did not expect this. When she had reached out to me and said, I'd like to send you a little gift package, I thought maybe it'd just be the palettes. I did not expect the entire thing. So I am very, very overwhelmed, but extremely grateful. So I kind of just want to quickly run through everything. So up first, we do have the two palettes. We have the Flutter and the Flourish palette. Now these are two different price points, I think, because the different shimmers that are in here. I will say out of the two palettes, one, I do think the outside packaging is really beautiful. I love that you can see more of the cool tone muted shades and you can see more of the bright bold shades with the palette. I will say I think out of the two, I think my favorite is still the Flutter palette right here. I think this just speaks more to like what I gravitate to in terms of a color scheme. This is definitely gonna be more for me. Both palettes have amazing formula. Like, they have amazing formula. So I think when it comes to the two, I would honestly just recommend picking the palette that you gravitate to the most. Do you need both? No, you do not need both. But if you want both, absolutely. But honestly, I would just go for the palette that you gravitate to the most. I love both of them. The formula is just superb. It is fantastic. But I think, like I said, out of the two, I definitely prefer the Flutter in terms of color story and like the eye look. Although I really am living for the eye look that I created today. Now, these two blushes right here, I will say these two blushes are very pigmented. I did not expect the pigment to be a little bit overwhelming. A little bit does go a long way for sure. I think the shade that I probably gravitate a little bit more to is still going to be the Flutter shade right here, because it's gonna be like a little cool tone peachy coral moment. This beautiful shade, this beautiful floral shade, it's gorgeous, but it's very, very pigmented, so a little bit does go a long way, but the formula is really beautiful. I really had fun working with it. Now, these single shadows, y'all, these single shadows are absolutely gorgeous. Now, I only played with the shade Monarch today, and I am just blown away with how gorgeous these shades are, how easy they are to work with, but I'm also not surprised because they are the same shimmer formula. I absolutely recommend at least picking up one of these if you get a chance to, because you really kind of get to use these in so many other palettes that are out there. They're very versatile. They're very easy to work with. A little does go a long way. They are magnetic, so you can put them in a magnetic palette and kind of create your own. Absolutely beautiful. Now, the one that kind of surprised me that I didn't think I was going to care for as much is these moon dust right here. And the reason being, it's not because they're not beautiful, because they are absolutely beautiful, but they're just messy. They're extremely messy. Like, literally, I'm not kidding. I have like moon dust or like fairy dust all over my desk, all over my chair, all over my legs and my clothes. It's everywhere. But they're so beautiful and they're so easy to work with. Like, you guys can see that I am using it as a highlighter today, along with an eye look as well. Like, a little bit of these do go a long way. I love the stopper that's in here. And like I said, you guys can apply them with your finger, with a brush. You guys can do them wet. You guys can do them dry. If you want to have more of a pop, I do recommend putting them. I do recommend putting on top of some sort of glitter glue or some sort of medium mixer on the eye to really get it to stick and lock in. But if you want to have something a little bit more light and effortless and just have a soft little highlighter, you could just apply it with your finger. You don't need it to be wet. It kind of just sticks on there, but it does blend away a little bit more when you don't have a tacky base for it to stick to. But they're so easy to work with. They are multi-chrome and dual chromes in here, so you can have different types of shifts. They are stunning. Absolutely worth it in my opinion. And then last but not least, we do have the lip glosses. I will say the formula is super nice. It's not really sticky. Has a nice pleasant taste to it. It's beautiful in the packaging, but on the lips, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. To me, I do not like multi-chrome lip glosses that are too full coverage. Like, I have one from Unearthly Cosmetics that Heather Austin did, and that one was such a sheer color that it just complemented any sort of lip that you put it on top. These are so full coverage that it kind of transforms the lip just enough to make it look metallic, and I don't like metallic looking lips. Like, for me, from far away, it may look like a glossy lip, but I could see it up close where it looks super metallic, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. Like, I'm just not. But I will say the formula is really nice. It's a nice thick formula, but I just wish they were a little bit more sheer. That way you can lay them on top of other shades and not have to worry about it changing the color and making it look almost metallic-y. With that said, I think this entire Flutter and Flourish collection is so freaking cute. I cannot believe that they sent this to me, because you guys know that I have been buying all my other palettes from them, and I ranked their Garden Groupie palette as my #1 so far this year. It definitely has some competition now, but the formula on this brand is incredible. And I absolutely had a lot of fun playing with this. So this collection will be launching on July 30th. You guys can use code Allie to save you guys 10% off. I'll have all the details about this collection down below, from the price points to what I'm wearing on my face. But Ensley Rain, thank you so much for sending this my way. This was so fun to play with, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with next. So, well, with that said, guys, that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 3 to 4 videos every single week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channel. It's Art for Life. You guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to these beautiful, wonderful page members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in my very next video.